Hello, everyone. My name is TIffany Jarebica, and I am doing my theorist project on Roger Schenck and schema theory. So, a brief overview of who Roger Schenck was. He was born in 1946 and actually recently passed away in January of this current year. He was a professor at Northwestern University and previously at Yale. He has authored over a total of 25 different books and was founder of the Socratic Arts Incorporated company that really focused on implementing story-based learning into curriculum. He was one of our leading researchers in AI learning theory, and he contributed to the work of schema theory. When looking specifically at schema theory was first introduced in the work of Bartlett back in 1932, and then continued to evolve with the help of Piaget in 1952. Schema theory is really just how individuals organize and interpret information in the form of mental frameworks or structures that we call schemas. A single schema represents our knowledge and expectations about a specific concept or situation. They kind of act as mental shortcuts for us and allow us to fill in missing details, make assumptions, and create inferences based on our prior knowledge and experiences of the world. So, schema theory actually supports online teaching and learning in a variety of different ways. Um, as an online designer of a course, you may use schema theory to help you with how you present information. You want to make sure that you present it in a logical and sequential order that helps learners understand different concepts that are being taught. You can also use schema theory in online courses by activating students' prior knowledge and really leveraging this to make sure that students have ample opportunities to participate in meaningful learning experiences that connect their prior knowledge to new material that's being taught. Examples of this would be pre-assessments, discussion boards, interactive simulations. And not only that, but schema theory can help guide instructional design for us because it allows us to create meaningful learning experiences where we build students' prior knowledge and incorporate a gradual release model to enhance their transfer of newly learned concepts. So, specifically looking at schema theory and Roger Schenck, Roger Schenck had two theories that he built off of schema theory. The first one was conceptual dependence theory, and it was a way of understanding how sentences in a language represent ideas or concepts. Roger Schenck actually used this to develop a computational model to help computers understand and process human language. Within human language, there's a lot of inferences that are taking place in contexts that we understand as human beings. But when placed into a computer doesn't infer or understand language the same way that humans do. And so through CDT, Roger Schenck broke down sentences into visual models for computers to understand. So this example shown here is would be how the sentence, "the big man took the book," is drawn or formatted for a computer to understand what is happening in that sentence. Big refers is to the man, and they have a transfer of the actual book from where the book is to the man. Roger Schenck also developed script theory, which is a way of understanding our knowledge of typical sequences of events, actions, expectations that are associated with specific situations. For example, scripts are thought to be a form of higher level schema that guide our understanding and interpretation of familiar situations. So, for example, as a human, when we go to a restaurant, there are different sequences of events that we expect. We understand that we're going to enter the restaurant and that we'll potentially be greeted by a host. We'll then be seated at our table. We will then be approached by a waiter where we will place our order. We will get our food and we will ask for our check. So this is an example of using script theory in order for a computer to understand what is happening when someone goes into a restaurant. There are a lot of different events, actions, and expectations that are inferred based on this specific scenario that have to be laid out and detailed in order for technological applications to understand them. So let's talk about some strengths of conceptual dependence theory. Conceptual dependence theory is super useful for AI projects, specifically because it helps computers understand the meaning of language and it helps them interpret simple and complex ideas. It also helps with AI's ability to answer questions by understanding the relationships between separate concepts. An example of this would be the ever so popular Chat GPT. It also is useful in various language related applications and systems to help communicate with people, specifically like virtual assistants, search engines on Google, chatbots that we may get on that ask us for specific ways to help on different websites. Some weaknesses, though, of conceptual dependence theory is the fact that language is really dynamic and complex based on the semantics, and language is ever evolving. And conceptual dependence theory really relies on predefined knowledge, and technological applications may encounter problems with interpreting idioms, figurative language, slang, things of this sort. It also may not capture really the broader understanding of what is being conveyed in a sentence, just based on the subjective interpretation. Through CDT, we lose a lot of the author's voice or the intonation, things that we would normally infer having a face to face conversation. When looking at script theory specifically, script theory is really useful in understanding sequences of events in online learning environments, specifically modules. We know that we're going to move from module 1 to module 2. It allows learners to make inferences, draw conclusions, and predict what will happen next based on our previous knowledge. And it really provides a framework for decision making and helping with collaboration and social interactions. Script theory, though, does not really provide a whole lot of room for the learner to differentiate. And it also takes away the autonomy based on the needs to follow a predetermined set of steps or a script that a learner will have to utilize in an online learning environment. So when I think about the future of schema theory, I think that it is something that is still prevalent in today's online setting. If we could continue to use schema theory in two specific ways. One's for personalized learning experiences. If technology was developed in a way to identify a student's current schema and then create learning experiences based off of things that they already know, I think that it could provide learners with a really personalized learning experience. I also think that another way that the future of schema theory could be incorporated is through interactive learning pathways, especially when we're talking about immersive learning opportunities for students, that schema theory could really be applied to help students go from one concept to the next based on their prior learning. And these are my references. Thanks so much.